Good afternoon. I want to welcome you here today for what is a very historic moment for the city of Auburn. We're talking about the Auburn Valley Humane Society groundbreaking ceremony. Now, you see a building here, so it's a little odd to have a groundbreaking ceremony, but the symbolic act means a lot to us. Now, first of all, we're talking about a building for generations. People knew it was the credit union that was here. And then it closed down for quite a long time. There was another business here, and then for some time it was something like a South End community center run as a co-op by some of our South End churches. It was a drop-in place for families and for teens and for young people. We also had Grief Works here. And as it's gone through a number of changes, we've always looked to see what we were going to do with this building. This site was actually bought by the city as the South End Fire Station. It was bought at the time when we had not even thought of the Valley Regional Fire Authority. And as the Valley Regional Fire Authority was formed and we knew that we had a different service to perform, a different service envelope, we knew that this site was no longer as suitable as it was once. So it lay fallow for a while as we decided what to do with it. In the meantime, we had been working with King County on our animal control. And for some period of time, we were having difficulties having an officer here when we needed one. When we called out for aid for an animal control officer from King County, seldom could we find one. So the city of Auburn contracted with King County. We bought a vehicle suitable for animal control. We paid for the full salary and benefits for an animal control officer that would then be dedicated to the city and the citizens of Auburn. And with that, our service improved and our citizens were happy with what we were doing. This was also the time, remember, that the city council, through a great number of threats, put through a series of ordinances that talked about keeping our city safe as well from some animals. Now, in doing all that, we had been working with the county, who was having an increasingly difficult time balancing their budget. One day we received notice that we would get a written form from the county that would give us a time frame that we could be either within their service for 6 months and get out, or 2.5 years and get out, or stay with them for some unknown period of time. The cost was delivered to us, it was far higher. But what was even more damaging to us is we also lost the ability to have our own animal control officer. That was taken off the table completely. At that time, a group of the veterinarians in Auburn came forth to the city council and they wanted to put forward a proposal to create our own humane society here in Auburn. But we were within 6 months of the deadline. The city could not take the chance, and the city council voted to agree to a 2.5-year contract with King County. As they did that, they moved forward in talking to our veterinarians in the city, and they started working toward an organization which is the Auburn Valley Humane Society. They've done marvelous things already. They're a group of wonderful people. They've talked to numbers of people in our community, and we're working hand with them every day. Now, to start off some of the introductions that we have here, I really have to commend our council first. Our council has stood up every step of the way alongside this group to make sure that they understood that they had the full support of all the council members as we move forward. We have with us our Deputy Mayor, Nancy Backus. Council members John Holman, John Partridge, Wayne Osborne, Bill Pelosa, and Rich Wagner. Without their ongoing support at every single step of the way, and that means on our finance committee, and our planning committee, and our municipal services committee, and our Public Works Committee. These folks were involved all along the way. They've been updated every single week. They know what the progress has been made, and they've been fully supportive at each and every place in the path. First to speak I'd like to have come forward is our Deputy Mayor Nancy Backus, speaking for the City of Auburn council members.
Thank you, Mayor. It is really an honor to be here today representing the council and also council members that were part of the council when this first became an issue for us. We had former Deputy Mayor Sue Singer, Council Member Lynn Norman, and also Council Member Virginia Haugen, who is here today. We're part of that decision process. It was not an easy one, as the mayor indicated, but it was one that we knew had to be made. And the best part of this whole process that we've seen happen is the partnership and the coming together of this community for something that they truly believe in. The council has been strong and steady in their belief and support of the Auburn Valley Humane Society and all of the volunteers. We love our pets as well, and we're very thrilled to be here today, and thank you for coming out as well to support such a great cause. Thank you.
You know, when we were starting up this celebration, we were talking about the county. And King County is a wonderful organization. We work with them on many projects. They had specific needs when they were talking about their animal shelter, and it just didn't match up with the City of Auburn in this particular case. But the general consensus when all this came about, and we were trying to figure out what to do, is that any theme song we started off with had to start off with "Who Let the Dogs Out?" But as we move forward on that, we had one of the council members who took this on as a project as well and has done great work along with this and has been meeting with the Humane Society members, Councilmember John Partridge.
Thank you, Mayor. I was assigned as the liaison for the council to start up this project. It was a good first project for a beginning new council member. And I found this quote in preparation for today. I once heard that you can give without loving, but you cannot love without giving. When 2 years ago, the council was faced with the fact that the helpless animals of Auburn fell victim to an ever-shrinking government budget and service cuts, the citizens and business owners in Auburn lived up to that quote that I just said. Today we stand before people who did not ask government what they were going to do, but they said what they could do for their community. You have loved, you have given sacrificially, and today is your reward. This building is only a symbol of that love. What makes this a home is all of the 7 veterinarians that are here in Auburn. If you're one of those veterinarians, would you raise your hand? Yeah. The Auburn Valley Humane Society board members, if you're here, show yourself and raise your hand. There we go. The 500 plus registered volunteers that aren't all here today, but they're on the roll. Our own Auburn School District Administration and Riverside DECA and VisCom classes, and currently 58 charter members, that's at $1,000 a piece in our community, and various donors. Those are the people that we celebrate here today. Those are the people that are willing to make this house a home. It was an extraordinarily time-sensitive effort that was needed to accomplish today's milestone. Volunteers who sacrificed countless hours and personal resources for the hope of a better day for our community's pets, the return of personalized animal control services, the retention of Auburn's licensing fees of their animals to care for their own animals, and to end the contract with regional services that will save a projected $500,000 a year starting in 2013 to our city's general fund. Money that can remain available for other vital human services and needs. I want you to know that every dollar that was pledged and will be pledged to this effort and your pet's licensing fees will stay 100% with the Humane Society. That's huge. The Humane Society needs to realize the remaining 142 charter memberships. That's the money that's going to be used to buy the furnishings that are going to go inside this remodeled building. They need every dog and cat in the city limits of Auburn to be licensed. Those licensing fees, 100% will pay the annual operating costs and be spent right here in our own city. And finally, we need the excitement and readiness of our volunteer pool. I want you to remember that this is your shelter. Your shelter operation that our volunteers negotiated with the city for the community to run. The veterinarians believe that that is the key to a successful shelter. If you at all doubted that this day would come, doubt no longer. For me, it was the belief that citizens empowered by a government that listens and serves can make a difference. That their community can be a better place for the next generation, and Auburn's the place to do it. This is why I stood up 2 years ago to represent you. Let's finish strong and look forward to a ribbon cutting when these doors open on January 1st, 2013. Thank you.
You know, as we've gone about this, one of the problems that we've always had has been over the generations that the number of pet license fees is reduced year upon year upon year. And that's one of the things that caused King County the most problem, and it hadn't been addressed because not much effort had been paid attention to it. So one of the things that we decided to do early on was to hire somebody in who would go out and promote pet licensing to the city of Auburn. Now, when you talk about somebody who promotes, we went through a very long process to find the right individual, and even I was surprised by the fact that the individual that we have chosen turned out to be such a wonderful promoter. I'd like to introduce you to an individual who has just started up, but you can look forward to hearing from again and again. I guarantee it. Julianne.
Thanks, Mayor. As the Mayor mentioned, my name is Julianne. I'm new with the city. I started on the 23rd of January, and my title is Marketing and Promotions Coordinator for the Mayor's Office, and I work for all the enterprise funds. And my main project this year is really working with pet licensing and increasing pet licenses. So when I first came on board, I'll give you the process of how I came up with the marketing strategy, which I'm happy to share with all of you. But today I'm really going to talk about an exciting program that we're going to start and hopefully have launched the first part of the summer of 2012. And the program is one that a city in Canada had started, and they were looking at ways that they could really increase their pet licenses, not just for the revenue, but for those pets that are lost that can be returned to their home. Returned to their home quickly so that they don't have to go through the shelter process, which costs a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of heartache for homeowners. And we're going to adopt a similar program, and it's called the I Heart My Pet Rewards Program. And it's one that's really simple. When you have your pet licensed, you're automatically issued a rewards card. And with the rewards card, you'll be able to access discounts throughout Auburn and some of the local lying areas, Algona and Pacific and Federal and Kent, if they decide to opt in. So an example would be if you have a pet grooming service or you're a veterinarian, you can advertise for free on the Pet License Rewards Program site what type of discount you would like to offer to the licensed pet owners of the city of Auburn. So for example, you could get a spay and neuter for $20. You could have 25% off of a shelter fee if you're going to go on vacation, or a kennel fee. There's actually a service that's available in Auburn that they come out and they'll scoop the poop off of your yard for a fee, and they're going to give 50% off for the first month of that service. So we are thinking that if people access the services 3 or 4 times throughout a year, it's going to recoup the value and the cost that they've had to pay for a pet license. So we're hoping to get this launched soon. I do have a couple forms if you're interested at all and you have a business or a service that you would like to advertise and participate. Go ahead and give me a call, shoot me an email, and we'll get you started through the process. The website's super colorful, and it'll link directly with the Auburn Valley Humane Society and the City of Auburn's pet licensing program. And all of the funds that we raise for pet licensing go directly to the Auburn Valley Humane Society and stay here, make sure that our pets are safe. I'm one of those people that I'm an idea person. I have lots of great ideas, but I think a lot of times other folks have ideas, and if you have something you think that might be beneficial, I would certainly love to hear it. And my email, my telephone number are on the sheet that's up here by the coffee and the cookies. I also have a couple promotional things that you can take with you. One is a lid for your pet food, and the other one is a magnet that you can put onto your refrigerator, and it has all the information about pet licensing on here. Thank you.
What's our percentage now?
14%.
And we're at 19% licensed pets in the city of Auburn today. Now, we all know we can do a lot better than that. We can talk to our friends and neighbors just to make sure that that takes place. Now, there is a group that we've talked about again and again that you haven't heard from yet, and that would be the Auburn Valley Humane Society. And here to talk for the Humane Society is Dr. Don Edwards.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm glad to be here today. I must say I'm pretty excited about how far we've come, and we still have a long ways to go, but with the people supporting us like they have, this is going to be a great shelter. I would like to start by introducing the board members of the Auburn Valley Humane Society. Some of them are here today. So the ones that are here, I wish you would just kind of take a step forward, and so that we can see who they are. The first one is Dr. Emily Purvis. She's our vice president. Suzanne Nagy, she is secretary. Rick Oliveria, I don't believe he's here today, but he's our treasurer. We have Dave Jarvie, Dr. Kimo Jow, Dr. Eric Schneider, Dr. Kyle Taylor, Dr. Bob Ingesat, Dr. Ivy Engstrom, Dr. Phil Beachy, and they're all veterinarians. Then we have Dr. Paul Pamula. He's not a veterinarian, but we let him in anyway. He's a physician. He's the outsider. So we had to vote long and hard, but we decided we'd let a physician in too. Then we also have Kim Spooner and Reed Astley, who is with the Valley Regional Fire Authority, and Tiffany Wiley. And I would just like to thank the community for the support. We couldn't have done it without the support and the continuing support that we've had from the community. And that's what's going to make this shelter great, is our community support. And I would like to say one last thing, and that is, I'd like to thank the veterinarians here in Auburn for coming together and having this vision and bringing it to fruition. The first time we brought it forward, short notice, not very good. We didn't have time to put together a good plan. We were voted down, but the city didn't know how tenacious veterinarians can be, and we came back. And the second time they approved it, and we're thankful. And I think the community, the citizens, the animals are all going to be better off for it. And we're anxious to see it open on the 1st of January this coming year. And I think that's about all I have to say. I also want to thank our liaison, Councilman Partridge, who also, this was kind of his brainchild. He wanted to keep it community-based and community-oriented, and that's how he involved the veterinarians the first time. And I still remember our first meeting in another building that we were looking at, trying to figure out how we were going to pull this off in 6 months. Well, it took longer than 6 months, but we did it. Thank you very much. Oh, I got one more thing here. I just keep going here. I also want to thank our design team, who is Alan Keimig and Associates, and representing him here in the seat today is Sarah Hansen, and she's been instrumental in kind of putting things together and helping us. Then we have Donovan's Construction, Doug and Daryl Donovan here. And I don't know if you guys have anything you need to say. They just said let us get started, so they don't need to talk. They work. So I will give it back to the mayor, and we'll go from there.
Thank you very much, Dr. Don. I seem to remember right after that first vote, we all got together with you and said, you don't really think you're going anywhere, do you? The whole idea was, even though we knew we had to sign that short-term contract, what we looked at as a short-term contract, council as a whole has still talked to me and were interested in moving forward on this project. So there wasn't a real lapse of time when we were still moving forward, knowing that this was a better idea for us all, and seeing it come to fruition here really does help. So, you know, when we've been talking a lot about some of the people that have been involved in this, there's another group that's been left out. And that has to do with the community, the neighborhood of the city staff, the city employees. From the very first day when this project was started, city staff have been involved. And not only have they been involved, they wanted to be an active partner. They weren't just talking about working on plans or having to do public works projects or how to set up human resources materials or any of the other financial functions. They wanted to be involved personally. They made an effort for it. And here representing the employees for the City of Auburn is Brenda Heineman.
Well, the employees at the city want everybody to know that we absolutely love our pets and we love our community. And so we set out to be charter members on this great occasion in this wonderful shelter. And we set out to raise the $1,000 to have a charter membership. I'm proud to say we have raised $2,230. I have the cash to prove.
Thank you, Brenda. We appreciate all you've done, and the city employees who've gotten behind the project and donated their hard-earned money. And we do have your certificate of charter membership here.
Thank you very much.
And thank you. We appreciate it. It's that support that makes it work.
I don't know if you all noticed, but ever since she walked and took a seat over here, she was holding on to the bag with the cash on it, and she never stopped clutching it. She was going to make very, very sure she kept a hold of that cash until it came time to turn it over. But that's not the only charter membership today that we're going to talk about. We have another group here that's going to come forward and talk about being a charter member, and we welcome Auburn Gymnastics to come forward.
This story really tells what it's been like to work with the community on this project. I received an email from one of the board members asking if I could chase down this guy named Brent at a gymnastics center who's flying all over the country, who had a plan for his team and a vision for our project and the desire to be a charter member. And I'm going to let him tell the story, and I'm thankful for all the representation he's brought. So Brent, could you tell us the story, what happened, how you heard about it, and what you did?
Well, thank you guys for having us here. Auburn Gymnastics Center had the ability to compete for the charity of our choice in a competition in Tacoma earlier this year. and we came across the Auburn Valley Humane Society and decided this was the charity that we'd like to compete for. So our kids went to the meet, did pretty well, and we're happy to be here with a donation to the effort, and hopefully we can do it again next year. So on behalf of the athletes, staff, and families of Auburn Gymnastics Center, we'd like to make a donation today and say thank you for your efforts.
Brent, what place did your team come in at that competition?
Well, we ended up, not all of our team competed in this meet, and we were third place overall as a team, but we're quite confident by bringing our whole team next year that we could place first, and first place is a $5,000 donation, so hopefully next year will be a little bit better than this year.
But this year they turn over $1,000, their full prize to the Humane Society for their charter membership. Thank you.
Thank you all. So, as you can see, by all the people who have taken part today, just today alone, besides all the other meetings that have taken place, besides all of the fundraising that's already been done, this is not about an individual. This is not about a nonprofit or a set of business people coming together. This is about a community coming together. This is about the citizens and the businesses, the schools, the clubs, the children of Auburn coming together for a common goal. And it really is a special thing we're doing here. What you've heard described as the Auburn Valley Humane Society really is just that. They're not talking about a place to put dogs and cats and other animals that have been abandoned. They're talking about changing the way we look at how we take care of our pets. They're talking about making a difference here in Auburn, unlike anything that's being done anywhere else in our area. Have they got the full support of the Auburn City Council? You bet they do. Do they have the full support of the community people that they've contacted? Every one of the people that they've contacted, you bet they do. They're going to do something here that could be transformational for our entire area. They're going to provide an example, I think, by which people who deal with our pets, who care for our pets, who care for our future, will be measured for the decades to come. Now, we're going to meet here again in just a few more months. It won't be that long. The time will go by fast. We're going to transform this old building into a brand new hope, a brand new dream, and a brand new future for our community called the Auburn Valley Humane Society. Now, we're supposed to be looking at doing a photo op now with holding on to shovels, and I got to thinking about this. This is a community effort, and what I would like to have happen is for every shovel, if we could I have somebody from the council, somebody from the Humane Society, and I'd like to have one of the kids as well. Each come forward so you had 3 hands on each shovel. Council, Humane Society members, Jim Nassau, please come forward and let's do this together. Thank you very much.